queued up paths to siege up there, exactly what I was talking about. The infestors are getting focused down, get some good fungals, but there's still a lot of marines left, and with the medevacs it's just too much. So that was actually a really well handled fight. So we're going to go back and we're going to talk about what the hell just went down. What did the Terran player do though? I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of players, myself included, a few months ago, you know, I'd know what I was meant to be microing. I just wouldn't necessarily know the exact specifics of the best way to do it. And basically it's really simple. It's simple rules. You basically follow what the pros do. It is the best way to do it. In this case, you have your marines and tanks on a separate hotkey. So what happens here is, I'm going to just speed up a little bit. Look at this, sieging that tank. The Ling's run forward. And he's got 2 more tanks. You see what I'm talking about? Telling him to siege up there. Okay, look at this. The Zerg starts streaming in. First point, look at this Zerg units in a line. Okay, I'm still not used to swapping between screens. Thanks for that, Steve. This is why I keep myself off busy. Alright guys, so what happens is the tanks are moving forward, and then the Zerg engages. Look at this spread for the Zerg. This is not good. You want your units to be spread out sideways, so that they're all getting there as quickly as possible, because these guys are going to take a lot longer to get to the engagement than these guys. So the ranged units are going to get a lot more shots off. So always as the Zerg player, try to maybe send half your army down this way, down here, and then you can come here with half your units spread out across here, half your units spread out across here, and then you can engage all at once. That being said, we're talking about Terran micro. So looking from the Terran player's camera, okay, these units just all run into vision. Holy crap. Throws a scan to make sure there's no burrowed infestors underneath him. And you know what he does? He pulls back his marines, because he doesn't want the banelings to get to them. He wants to pull them back. Off creep often is the case, but in this case the creep's well back, so he just needs to pull back a bit. And you know what he does instantly with his tanks? He focus fires them on the banelings and infestors. So look at these red lines that just appeared, guys. There, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then he accidentally clicked on... Oh yeah. So basically, what he's done is he's tapped 4. He's tapped the number 4 on his keyboard, which is for his siege tanks, and then he's just held down Shift, and he's given them an attack command and then held down Shift. Obviously, you guys understand the way Shift works. I'm assuming that. Otherwise, you've got a long way to go. That does queue up commands. Basically, you want to right-click on an infestor, right-click on something like that, and then you hold down Shift and you queue up these attack commands. So basically, these tanks are just going to shell down all of these infestors. Now, it would be nice to also click on these banelings, but I'm just assuming the Terran just had his screen centered here. The number 1 priority is killing these infestors, because they're going to fungal his marines otherwise. So he's basically gone, oh shit, they're engaging. 3 for marines, right-click back. 4 for siege tanks, shift-click, and then he can worry about his marines again. When he moved his marines back as well, not only did he right-click back, he hit T for Stimpack. So he's pulled them back, and let's watch how this fight goes. So watch these infestors get blown to pieces, and then he's not worried about his tanks, because they're going to attack on their own, because he queued up those commands, and he pulls back his marines. Now was that perfect? No, that wasn't perfect. He lost a lot of marines to the fungals because he retreated them into this kind of corner where they couldn't pull back any further. Not the best positioning. But he had the idea perfect. The idea is just pull them back and hit stim, because you've got to do that most urgently, because if they get fungled or hit by banelings, you've lost. Your second priority is focus with your siege tanks. Hit your next hotkey, you focus with your siege tanks, you focus those units down, the infestors and banelings, and then you're like, okay, they're going to do that on their own, I can worry about my marines again. I've already pulled them back, now I can start the splitting, and you go here, you go here. You just draw some boxes and drag them out into a big rainbow concave. A rainbow concave. That's the way I like to think of it anyway. So, any questions? Do shoot them through on chat, guys. And Welshie is actually shooting me over a question. When he's finished that, I'll go to that. So, continuing this game. Been talking a lot. Going to grab a drink of water. Let's just watch what's happened. Oh wait, what did I miss? These marines just killed 2 hatcheries. Remember there were 2 hatcheries building over here? When did that happen? While he was attacking. This is what you do as Terran. 8 marines in a dropship can kill so much stuff. If your opponent's distracted by a push, they can kill just about everything. So let's see, he's moving this up. Where's his dropship? I don't see these 8 marines. So when does he send this off? There it is. So as soon as he starts moving... Oh my god, I cannot remember to put the screen back on. Jesus, I'm actually retarded. Really sorry, guys. Thanks for the reminder, Steve. Talking for this long gets me just zoned out, I guess. So, back to the screen. Alright. 2 hatches over here. As soon as the Terran moves out, he loads up a single dropship from over here, and he sends it off on its way. Because he knows the Zerg has to defend his main army. And you know what's really hard in a high-pressure situation when there's siege tanks knocking at your door? Splitting your units up and renumbering them. And that's what Zergs really struggle with. Often, they'll panic, and they'll just go, ugh, just let the expansions die. And I've done this in many a high-pressure situation myself. So I know the exact power of how good this dropship is. Even though the Zerg spots it, he can't react. He's penned into his base. He can't go over there. This army will move in and kill all his tech. So look at this. So little micro required, just a stim and an A move. That's pretty much all he needs to do. This guy's going to clean up that drone, or maybe not. And this is while that whole setup was going on. I mean, even if you're like, you know... And this is what actually prompts the Zerg to engage badly as well. The Zerg's losing bases. The Zerg feels pressured, and the Zerg runs into this kind of bad choke position. Luckily for him, the Marines don't micro quite right, but he's still behind. Behind in supply against the Terran, never a situation you want to be in. And look at this, the Marines continue their rampage. Queen and then focusing the hatch, and oh my god. He almost gets the hatch. You know what? If he just sends another drop around the map to get here, that's an almost definite kill. It only takes about, you know, what about 30 Marine shots to do that much damage off a hatchery? And he's actually sacking SCVs at this point because he has too many. He wants to clear supply. This is phenomenal play. Walling off areas of the map. He's going to chuck planetaries there. He's got the gold. He's got so much production. He could be adding more. So guys, don't get carried away with fancy stuff like building command center walls, building barracks walls, and it's nice to have these added in, but make sure you actually have the production up as well. Like at this stage of the game, you want some more starports in case broodlords come out. You need to be able to produce a lot of Vikings. You want a Ghost Academy and a lot of barracks with tech labs. So you're going to be throwing tech labs on these barracks. So you can build Marauders for Ultralisks and Ghosts for Infestors. Ghosts, well, they're good against anything. So this is what you want to be doing. Adding production always as Terran. Something about beating me, I can't remember. And I just got a message from Peekaboo. He's like, hey man, you doing a show right now? I'm like, yes sir, doing a replay of you right now. Yeah. Though it was Pickle that actually sent me the replay. He says, God, that game was embarrassing. It's a very nice play, man. This guy, look at this guy. He's like, oh man, I only beat, like, ST yesterday, but it was kind of not the best play. So, hopping on to see if anyone's got any good questions for me. Screen again, thank you for that. Yes, I'm going to probably leave it on that. So, well, she's like, hey man, should you get Nidus Worms and harass bases with Lings in the late game? Yeah, it's a pretty good move to do. Other things are more important. Getting your Broodlords and Infestors out. That's the key thing as Zerg. If it's late game, and just engaging right, and just general counter-attacking. You don't necessarily need to Nidus to attack someone's base. When a Terran moves out to attack you, if you've got your army positioned right, you can often run into his main and just kill all his production, or knock off all his add-ons at the very least. That being said, he's like, also, should your Marines be kept in line with the siege tanks, and have a couple to try and bait the Zerg army? Yeah, your Marines are normally kept about in line with your siege tanks, and then often sending out small groups to clear creep tumors with scans and trying to just bait the enemy army in. A really good way of just applying pressure. So that's definitely a good way to bait the army in. Dead Lizard says, go-to tools, hotkeys, control numbers to switch screens without tabbing to XSplit. Yeah, that's something I've really got to add in, Dead Lizard, so thanks a lot for that. And I will actually be doing that after this show. I've been a bit lazy, to be honest. So guys, this replay continuing. What did Peekaboo say? He said, yeah, embarrassed, man. It's shameful saying that's embarrassing. Look at this, just beautiful. Okay, so the Terran's basically saying, you don't have Mutalisks anymore. I'm going to push up here, do this nice defensive push, drop in your main, drop at your 5th and kill it, drop here and kill that. And even though, you know, he's not multitasking this, you might think, oh, how's he doing everything everywhere? He's not. He's just thought about it, and he said, you don't have Mutalisks, you drop there. And he'll tell it to drop from across the map. You drop there, you drop here. He'll siege up his tanks, he'll go back, do a round of building units, etc., put some upgrades on, and he'll be like, oh, they've dropped. Stim, stim, stim. And you might think, oh, but that's so much to remember. It's just a matter of practicing it out. Just practice it out, you'll be able to do that in no time. And Turtles, Infinite Turtles, has said, would the Zerg have been better off not giving up on the Mutas? You know what, I think that's definitely something that could have been a good idea. But let's think about it. Giving up on the Mutas, like, what upgrades did he have? He had 1-0. These Marines are now at 2-2. I think keeping them alive would definitely have been good. Generally, it's good to keep them alive, preserve them a bit better, try to build up that flock. But you can't always do that. If your opponent does some really clever play, like Peekaboo did, Peekaboo. If your opponent does some really clever play, like Peekaboo did in this game, then you're behind. Okay, possibly you haven't reacted to it quite perfectly, as we saw in this replay, and you end up behind. So how do you handle that situation? Well, Mutas aren't the best. You can't really afford the upgrades, you can't afford to get enough of them. While they give you map control, how are you going to fight your opponent's army front on? So the best way to do it is Infestors. Infestors are so cost efficient. If you land the Fungals, they add in a bit of chance to the game, where if you use them skillfully, if you get the right Fungals, then they're going to actually be really, really effective. So that being said, Mutas, if you're really behind, I think it's a great idea to give up on them, just like Pickle did here. And you know what? It opens up this really clean transition into the Broodlords. Hells yeah, he's already got 5 Infestors on the ground, all on like almost full energy. Sure, he's lost some tech, he's lost some buildings, but you know what? Even though he's got like no income, he never really got to even mine off a 4th, and this Terran's rolling in it. You know what? The Terran, like I said before, he's only just getting a Ghost Academy. He's only got 1 starport. He hasn't been preparing for this hive and hasn't been scanning it. And what has Pickle been doing? Rather than Nidus harassing with Lings or anything like that, when boxed into a corner, go infest a Broodlord, go a really powerful composition, control it just right, maybe bring some Queens along for Transfuse, and this is how you get back into the game. So I'm just going to finish off this replay now before I answer any more questions, because this is taking way too long. Hopefully, thanks for guys who are tuning in for the whole time and people who are going in and out. I don't really expect people to watch the whole show. Obviously, next we will be doing a Pro TvZ replay, and with that there won't be as many little things to pick up on, but there will be conceptual things and build order things. So look at this, you need some Corruptors to shoot down this Medivac. But look at this. Don't ever move these guys out on their own. Try to always keep most of your army with this. If you've got to react to a drop, just pull back a handful of Lings or some Infestors. Luckily, you know, he's going Thor Marine. That doesn't count at Broodlords. Bad luck, Peekaboo, man. You've played so perfectly this game. But look at this. If your opponent can play so well positionally, macro, micro, everything, and then their brain can malfunction, and I'm not saying this is an insult to Peekaboo, this is what I refer to it as when there's something really obvious, like what could the Zerg possibly do to win the game? Ultras or Broodlords, so you prepare for those options. Your brain can kind of malfunction, you can think, I've won this game, and there's only really one thing that could beat me, and that's Broodlords, and you'll think that, and then you just won't counter it. And I reckon it probably occurred to Peekaboo, and he just forgot. He was just like, yeah, man, I've got this game won, got a bit cocky even, possibly, doing those multi-drops, shutting down bases. But look, what answer does he have to this? And there's so many Broodlords there. I mean, 3-3 Marines are good against them, but running into that choke, especially with this army flanking, they're going to have nothing they can do. Lings are the perfect counter to Thor tank. You don't want Banelings against Thors and tanks. I mean, that sounds obvious, but people still get too many Banelings in their composition when there's a lot of Thors and tanks. You want to go almost pure Ling in that situation. And look at these Fungals. So that's some really nice positioning. You see, that was a brain malfunction, just charging to that position. There wasn't even many resources here. I'm sorry, that sounds really insulting. Sorry, Peekaboo, man. You played so